All right, welcome everybody. Welcome to Talkin' Investing. I am Tom, and as always, this is not financial advice. Today, I want to talk about a Bitcoin mining company called Bitfarms, stock ticker BITF. For those of you familiar with the channel, we talk about the Bitcoin miners all the time, as well as Bitcoin, and now we're starting to get into altcoins. So if that's stuff that you're interested in, you can hit the subscribe button. And if you want to do us a big favor, you can smash the like button. We're going for 500 likes on this video, so help us out if you can. Bitfarms has an unbelievable amount going on. People are very nervous about Bitfarms. I get more comments on this than any other stock. And they've had an incredible amount of stuff happen over really the last 6 or 7 months. So I just want to walk everybody through the timeline. I'm going to go through the January 2025 operational report, but I'm also going to talk about their change in their exahash game plan, their change in their cash management game plan. This company has made a massive shift in what they are attempting to do, and I'm going to tell you the reason why I think they did it and how I feel about it. So there's a lot to go through with Bitfarms. Let's get going. Okay, I think we need to start with the January update. So this just came out on February 3rd. They broke a lot of news in this operational update. Some good, some bad, some just need to be processed, and you guys need to decide for yourself how you feel about it. But I do think we got a lot of information in here. Okay, so the first thing, operational hash rate of 15.2 exahash. So that was extremely encouraging to me. I want to talk about what's going on with their exahash, because this is, I think, one of the investors' biggest concerns. First of all, they were stuck at 12.8 for quite some time. So you can see they have fixed that. They're now at 15.2, although they weren't able to operate that due to weather, curtailment, and some issues they have with some machines. Okay, if I go all the way back to June 13th, you'll see Bitfarms enters into an agreement to develop 120 megawatts in the US and provides 2025 guidance of over 35 exahash. So this was in June of 2024. At this time, they were telling us they were going to get 21 exahash by the end of 2024 and 35 exahash by the end of 2025. Well, things changed dramatically after that. Okay, so on the very same day as they put out that announcement that they're going to 35 exahash, they put out this announcement. Bitfarms announces acceleration of previously announced termination of CEO and provides update on new CEO appointment. So this was the first big red flag. It seemed like Geoffrey Morphy was going to transition his way out, help hire his replacement, and then all of a sudden and all at once, he was fired, walked out the door, and a lawsuit ensued. So that turned extremely adversarial. And at the time, that's not what people perceived was going on. So this was the first big change. Then just a few weeks later, you'll see they put out this press release. Bitfarms responds to unsolicited proposal from RIOT platforms. So all of a sudden, RIOT was working their way ultimately up to becoming just under a 20% shareholder in Bitfarms, looking for a potential hostile takeover. They put in a bid at $2.30 privately back in April, unbeknownst to anybody, to buy the whole company at $2.30 a share. Bitfarms rejected that. When you see what their share price is now, you might scratch your head and think they should have taken it. I will tell you personally, I don't think that would have been reasonable at the time, but that is not financial advice. That's my opinion. So this was the second red flag. We've got all of a sudden a hostile takeover in the works. Okay, so then quickly on July 8th, Bitfarms appoints Ben Gagnon as Chief Executive Officer. We've had Ben here on the channel. I think most people that like Bitfarms like Ben a lot. He ran their operations, and the operations of this company, in my opinion, continue to do very well. So operationally speaking, it's a very different situation than what they're dealing with from a management and board of directors level situation in the company. So there was a void at CEO for some time. They filled it with a familiar, friendly face in Ben Gagnon. Okay, and again, this is just kind of a brief history because a lot went on this year. So then next they put Bitfarms to acquire Stronghold Digital Mining. This came out August 21st, 2024. They still haven't closed this deal, although it looks like they're about to. So more on that when we get back to the January monthly operational report. Okay, Bitfarms nominates Andrew Chang for election to the board of directors. And then you'll see here, it says, pursuant to the settlement agreement between the company and RIOT Platforms dated September 23rd, 2024, at the special meeting, shareholders will be asked to approve an expansion of the board from 5 members to 6 members. So this is at the request and behest of RIOT, who again was in the middle of, some type of hostile takeover or buyout or however you want to call it. So this caused a lot of shakeup. They got rid of some members of their board of directors. They added some members. They added they went from 5 to 6 in total. So a lot of confusion at the top of the food chain here at Bitfarms. Meanwhile, late in October, they told us, okay, we're not going to get to 21 exahash in 2024. So that is what they had been talking about all year. Remember, we read an article that they were looking to get to 35 exahash by the end of 2025. So they now changed it. This is the January 15th investor presentation, and you'll see 21 exahash by the first half of 2025. So that's now from December of 2024. They've moved that forward to June of 2025, and they just changed it again. And when we get back to the monthly operational update, like I said, there's a lot of information in there. You're going to see that they changed this number again. So they keep changing the goalpost. Investors don't like that. We want to see companies do what they say they're going to do. I think it's important for them to start hitting their thresholds like they're talking about and rebuild some of the credibility that's been lost with shareholders. Okay, so that takes us back to the January operational update that just came out February 3rd. Okay, I'm going to skip down a little and then I'll go back to the top and hit the rest of those bullet points, but you'll see the end of this exahash conversation is they say here, due to the underperformance of some of our T21 miners, we are derating our guidance by 14% to 18 exahash H1 2025. So they went from 21 exahash at December 31st, 2024. They moved the ball to 21 exahash at June 30th, 2025. And now they're saying 18 exahash at June 30th, 2025. And essentially saying 21 exahash by the end of the third quarter, I think, or certainly by the end of the year. But their growth plans have shrunk dramatically. Now, they still grew substantially. They grew 50% in the year 2024. So it was a strong year of growth, but that was necessary just to keep up with the halving. So they do need to keep growing, which is why I go back to the point, operational hash rate of 15.2 exahash, that's up from 12.8 last month. So that was the first good signal, in my opinion, that we've seen in a while. Energized 2 North American sites, Sharon, Pennsylvania, and Baie-Comeau, Quebec. Binding letter of intent with Hive for the sale of 200 megawatts. And this is in Paraguay, and that's expected to close in 2025. So you'll see this came out just last week. Bitfarms enters into a binding LOI with Hive Digital Technologies for the sale of its Paraguay site. So here's their bullet points from what they hope to gain by selling this site. And I know some investors panicked at this and they said, oh, they're running out of money, they're shrinking, they're selling off assets. I'm not viewing it quite that way, although I do think this has something to do with money. I think it has more to do with North America and specifically the United States, and I'm going to show you what I mean by that in a minute. Okay, so Bitfarms to reinvest capital in U.S. growth opportunities. Okay, so they lead with that. They have been hinting for the last 6 months that they want to get their operations into the U.S. I speculate, and again, this is not financial advice. They have not said this, but everything that they're talking about makes it seem to me like they're going to follow several of their peers and maybe move their domicile to the United States from Canada. So we don't know that's going to happen, but again, they continue. Look, the first line in this is Bitfarms to reinvest capital in U.S. growth opportunities. When we go back through their investor presentation, you'll see they keep hitting upon that concept. Accretive transaction valued at the completed site at $85 million and significantly reduces anticipated 2025 capital requirements. So I do think this was also a big part of this. They want to do two things. They want to start focusing on the capital they have going to the United States resources that they're looking for, number one. And number two, 2024 was a very tough year for people investing in Bitcoin miners. There was a lot of stock dilution. Bitfarms was no different. I think they are looking to drastically slow their stock dilution. And one of the reasons is it has been very hard for them to issue at the market shares of stock based on the brutal beating their stock took in the year 2024. So we're going to go take a look at that real quick. Okay, this is the 12 stocks that we follow. This is the 12 Bitcoin miners and Bitcoin. This was their performance for the year in 2024. So you're going to see Bitcoin obviously had a great year, up 122%. A second year in a row, up over 100%. But unlike 2023, where the Bitcoin miners were up 300, 400, 500, 600%, the Bitcoin miners did not perform quite so well. And who is in very last place? Bitfarms, down 49%, almost 50% down in a year where Bitcoin more than doubled. So this was disastrous results for them from a stock standpoint. And I do think it forced them to look at their company, find ways to get more efficient, because they did not want to be raising stock at $1.75 a share. This was a company that was pushing $4 a share at one point in the last year. Now it's down. It's gotten down as low as $1.40 a share. So I think a big part of what they're doing is putting a big pause on their at-the-market programs. They're already going to issue more shares to acquire Stronghold, but that's going to increase their exahash, and I think that fits in well with their business plans going forward. So I think this underperformance on their stock, and we know the reasons why. Why did they underperform? Why did their stock underperform? There was a lot of chaos at this company, including shakeup at the board of directors, a change in the CEO, a potential hostile takeover. So these things, in addition to the fact that they failed to meet their goal of 21 exahash by the end of 2024, has caused the stock to be brutally beaten down, and it remains there right now. It's still 1 month into 2025, not performing very well this year either. It's about flat on the year as I'm making this video. It's down about 1 or 2% year to date. But that's on top of the down 50% year to date last year. So I really think they want to stay away from dilution. They want to use the capital they have to maximize the revenue from the assets that they have. That's my opinion of what's going on here. So if we look at this slide, and again, this needs to be updated because they just gave us new information when they sold a part of their business to Hive. So we'll get to that in a minute. But you'll see this purple slot right here in 2024, the US was 6% of what they're looking to do. Now they're talking about getting it in 2025 to 46% and beyond to 68%. And then if we go here, they're looking to rebalance their year-end 2025 pro forma energy portfolio to 80% North America and 20% international. And you can see the other thing that's happening is this light blue slice of Canada, which last year was 52%, is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So that is what is leading me to believe that they are segueing themselves out of Canada, as have the other Canadian Bitcoin miners already, and maybe looking to move to the US. Of course, they have not said that. That's speculation on my part. So we'll have to see if that happens. But in any instance, they're clearly focusing on the United States, looking to get this really up to 80%. So they'll be reporting their financial statements soon. The fourth quarter should be the most revenue they've ever had in any quarter in the history of their company. So you're going to see in the third quarter, they had $44.8 million. But actually, if we go to the first quarter of 2024, they had $50.3 million. So that was their all-time record. I do expect them to beat that. I expect them to come in somewhere under 55 million, but over this 50.3 million. So that's a step in the right direction. And then I expect them to beat that each quarter for the rest of the year. So I do think they're headed in the right direction. So the acquisition of Stronghold Mining is on track for Q1 of 2025. So that has taken a long time, but we finally see now the shareholders of Stronghold are going to vote on this on February 27th. So I think they're anticipating that this deal will go through, and then they will close it as quickly as they can thereafter. So these are some boxes they can check and let people know that they're doing what they said they were going to do. If this vote goes their way, if they can close on this deal, if they can get this 15.2 exahash up and running, continue to increase the number of Bitcoin that they mine, I think that's their plan. But in addition to that, you're going to see sign an agreement with ASG and WWT to develop HPC and AI businesses. So they're looking to diversify their revenue. They've been pretty much a pure play Bitcoin miner. They've talked about high performance computing and AI, but they really don't have any of those contracts yet. Well, they've hired 2 consulting firms to go out there on their behalf, assess the energy infrastructure that they have, see which sites are best for high performance computing, and then try to go out and get that business and create a second line of revenue. Because as we know, many of the Bitcoin miners are doing that, and it is high gross profit stuff. So they are getting themselves into this game in a big way. CEO Ben Gagnon stated, 2025 is off to a great start. We are on track this quarter to close both our acquisition of Stronghold Digital Mining and the strategic sale of the 200 megawatts in Paraguay data center to Hive Digital. These transactions transform our energy pipeline by immediately rebalancing our portfolio to North America. So there's that North America again, and I really think they're talking about the United States, with great assets for both high-performance computing and Bitcoin mining. The accretive sale in Paraguay, and I won't try to mispronounce that name, provides meaningful capital and cost savings associated with the redeployment of miners in the U.S. that will be applied towards our American gigawatt growth pipeline. All right, lastly, if we just look at a chart of this stock, you're going to see in 2024, in February of 2024, this stock got to almost $4, $3.91. So from that high, they are down 62%, which means this stock would need to more than double just to get back to where it was in February of 2024. So is the new plan they've created going to help get them back there? I like the fact that they're going to probably do a lot less dilution in 2025. We know they're focusing on getting their fleet more efficient, so that should save money from a direct cost of sales, but hopefully they focus on overhead as well. One of the things that bogged them down in 2024 was a lot of legal expenses due to the potential hostile takeover with Riot, so those are some non-reoccurring things. Hopefully they can get those back on track, and we're going to see. So for me, what I'm looking in 2025 is for that top line revenue to increase all 4 quarters of 2025. They should have their record in revenue every quarter of the year this year. In my opinion, that's what I'm looking for them to do. And their gross profit percentage should continue to improve and improve and improve. So lastly, I'd like to see them minimize the number of shares that they issue, particularly at these low prices. If they can get some confidence back in their investors and their stock goes back up, into the $2.50 to $3 range, then maybe they can grab a little bit of money that they may need to get where they're going. So like I said, there's an awful lot going on with this company. Some of it's good, some of it is not so good. I think they put a brand new plan together, and I think we have some clarity in where they want to go. Now what they need to do is show us, are they going to hit their benchmarks along the way and provide some confidence back into investors and see that stock price go back up? So that's all I got for you on Bitfarms. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far, please remember to subscribe to the channel and smash the like button. Thanks again. We'll see you in the next video.